Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to discuss the second chapter in the second module of the text signatures, which is prescribed for third semester BA BSc degree students as their English common course under Calicut University. The second module of signatures is titled Speeches and Testimonies. There are 4 chapters in the module. 2 chapters are speeches and 2 chapters are testimonies. Out of the 2 speeches, one speech is from a movie, The Great Dictator. It is the final speech in that movie. The Great Dictator is one of the famous films done by Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin doesn't need an introduction. He is very much known to the whole world. The full name of Charlie Chaplin was Charles Spencer Chaplin. He was born on 16th April 1889 and died on 25th December 1977. He was an English comic actor, filmmaker, and composer. He became famous in the era of silent film. His role in the film, The Tramp, later became an iconic figure in the history of the film industry. His career in the film world spanned more than 75 years. Chaplin's childhood in London was one of poverty and hardship. As his father was absent, his mother struggled financially to bring up her children. Chaplin was sent to a workhouse twice before the age of 9. Chaplin began performing at an early age, touring music halls, and later working as a stage actor and comedian. At 19, he was signed to the prestigious Fred Carno Company, which took him to America. In 1914, he started appearing for Keystone Studios. He soon developed the Trump persona and formed a large fan base. Soon, he started directing his own films. By 1918, he was one of the best-known figures in the world. In 1919, Chaplin co-founded the distribution company United Artists. His first feature-length film was The Kid, which was released in 1921. The Kid was followed by A Woman of Paris in 1923, The Gold Rush in 1925, and The Circus in 1928. By 1930s, when sound films or talkies became a global trend, Chaplin refused to move to sound films. He produced City Lights in 1931 and Modern Times in 1936 without dialogue. His films became increasingly political. In 1940, when Hitler had admirers throughout Europe, he produced his first sound film, The Great Dictator, in which he satirized Adolf Hitler. The politics in his films costed him a decline in his popularity. He was accused of communist sympathies and was forced to leave the United States due to the opening of an FBI investigation against him. He settled in Switzerland. He abandoned the Trump in his later films. Chaplin wrote, directed, produced, edited, starred in, and composed the music for most of his films. He was a perfectionist who spent years on the development and production of a picture. Most of his films contain social and political themes as well as autobiographical elements. While talking about the honors and awards received by Charlie Chaplin, Chaplin received many awards and honors, especially later in life. In the 1975 New Year honors, he was appointed a Knight Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. He was also awarded honorary Doctor of Letters degrees by the University of Oxford and the University of Durham in 1962. In 1965, he and Ingmar Bergman were joint winners of the Erasmus Prize, and in 1971, he was appointed a Commander of the National Order of the Legion of Honor by the French government. From the film industry, Chaplin received a special Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival in 1972 and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Lincoln Center Film Society the same year. The latter has since been presented annually to filmmakers as the Chaplin Award. Chaplin was given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1972. He was previously excluded for this award because of his political beliefs. Chaplin received 3 Academy Awards. He was further nominated in the Best Actor, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Picture as Producer categories for The Great Dictator, and received another Best Original Screenplay nomination for Monsieur Verdox. In 1976, Chaplin was made a Fellow of the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. 6 of Chaplin's films have been selected for preservation in the National Film Registry by the United States Library of Congress. The 6 films are The Immigrant, The Kid, The Gold Rush, City Lights, Modern Times, and The Great Dictator. Now about the film The Great Dictator. The Great Dictator is a comedy film written, acted and produced by Charlie Chaplin in 1940. The film is the first talkie or non-silent or sound film of Chaplin. Chaplin was deeply disturbed by the surge of militaristic nationalism in 1930s world politics. He found that he could not keep these issues out of his work. There were great similarities between Hitler and Chaplin. They were born 4 days apart. Both had risen from poverty to world prominence, and Hitler had the same toothbrush mustache of Chaplin. It was this physical resemblance that supplied the plot for The Great Dictator, which directly satirized Hitler and attacked fascism. The film was one of the biggest money makers of the era. The New York Times called it the most eagerly awaited picture of the year. Chaplin concluded the film with a 5-minute speech in which he pleaded against war and fascism. The ending was unpopular and generated controversy. The Great Dictator received 5 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Actor. In the film, he played a dual role. The first one of Adenoid Hingel, the Great Dictator and the ruler of Romania, and the second, a Jewish barber whose shop has become a part of the ghetto during the time of the war. Now, into the text. The given text is the editor version of the speech delivered by Chaplin's character at the end of the film. The speech urges all the humanity to unite and fight for peace and justice for everyone, regardless of color, race, and gender. The speech also emphasized the power of democracy in safeguarding the rights of the oppressed. In the beginning of the speech, he is addressing the soldiers, but later he addresses the whole world, the whole humanity. He begins his speech by saying to the crowd that he doesn't want to become an emperor. He doesn't want to conquer anyone. He only wants to help people. Human beings by nature want to live by each other's happiness, not by suffering or detest. He emphasizes the ability of humanity to live in harmony regardless of color, race, and gender. He then talks about how greed has destroyed human souls and divided the world with hate. Greed has poisoned human souls. It is the greed in the minds of human beings that has brought hatred into the minds of human souls. Technology should have brought human beings closer, but instead of bringing human beings closer, the present technology has made human beings segregated. The society has become more mechanistic and lost the capacity to feel. Human beings have become more and more mechanical. The need of the hour is to become humane and have kindness and gentleness, without which the society will perish. He addresses the entire sections of people who are suffering and asks them not to despair. The present situation will change and peace will be restored when people fight collectively against the forces that divide them. He asserts the strength of democracy and the belief in collective strength of the people. He asks soldiers to use their reason before blindly following any regime that dictates them. He reminds them that they are not machines, but human beings who can love and have the power to think and act. Therefore, instead of blindly surrendering to slavery, they should fight for liberty and justice. He quotes from the 17th chapter of St. Luke that kingdom of God is within man. Everyone has the capacity to create happiness and make this life peaceful and beautiful. Therefore, people should fight collectively for peace and justice. He reminds the significance of democracy for creating a better world where everyone will have a future. Dictators, though they make fake promises of a better world, in fact they enslave people. The speech ends with the exaltation that in order to save democracy, they should unite. The entire people in the globe, in the world, should unite. They should all unite and fight for a world devoid of greed and hatred, devoid of barriers. And they should fight for a world of reason, where science and technology, science and progress make human life better and happy. Instead of producing nuclear weapons or atomic bombs, the science and technology would work for making human life better and happy. Throughout the speech, Chaplin maintains a connection with the audience. The use of the words like we, us, etc. makes it easier for the audience to connect to the speaker. Repetition of words is another technique which makes the communication of an idea easier. Here, the rhetorical and repetitive use of words increase the intensity of ideas expressed by Chaplin. Chaplin's speech is an emotionally charged speech with a sense of hope and love of humanity. The speech is powerful enough to make the audience look forward for a better future. In the description, I am including the link of the final speech in the movie The Great Dictator. I suggest you to watch the speech. If it is possible, I suggest you to watch the entire movie. It's a wonderful movie done by Charlie Chaplin. Thank you.